On today's episode of the podcast, we're talking about the top 10 colors this year. Welcome back, everyone, to the Ultimate Deck Podcast, episode 36. I'm your host, Shane Chapman. Solo edition today, but that's okay because we're just talking about what's sold this year so far. We're talking about the top 10 colors of composite / PVC decking that we've sold this year. So, giant asterisks before we get into this today. Of course this is regional. Of course it is. This list is our list. This is relevant to Regina, Saskatchewan, and relevant to the Ultimate Deck Shop, but it'll have some context. Other markets that are similar to ours that sell these same brands might have similar numbers, but this is just for your own kind of interest, I suppose, as to what's selling up in central Saskatchewan at our store. So, for further context, obviously something we don't carry is not going to make the list. So in your market, if you're saying, hey, we sell tons of whatever, Cali bamboo, we don't carry it, so we're not going to have it. And I'm also only referring today to the composite and PVC, the synthetic decking category, those two major players in the synthetic decking category. I'm not talking about, shout out to treated lumber. It's still one of our biggest sellers, and shout out to cedar. It's still one of our bigger sellers as well. But we're not talking about those today. What I've done is taken the 7 brands of composite and PVC decking that we carry, compiled our numbers as of July 31st of 2019 to see which one has sold the most linear feet of product so far this year. And the reason I chose this date is because up in Canada, where we are, this is about the halfway point in summer. So end of July, I kind of consider the end of July to be the halfway point of summer. So it's the end of the 7th month, so we're a little bit further through the year, but it's the halfway point of the summer. And so I feel like these numbers have a bit of relevancy. This is probably pretty similar to how the rest of the year is going to play out. So let's get started. We're going to give you the top 10 composite and PVC colors of the year so far. And I'm going to give you a little bit of reason as to why we think they've placed on this list as well. And we're going to start from the bottom and work our way to the top from number 10. Trex Select Winchester Gray. This one is a surprise and at the same time not really a surprise to me. Not really a surprise because this has always been a strong color in our market. This kind of bluish gray, there's been a good stretch on the kind of design front for cold grays over the last few years, and we're starting to get away from that a little bit the last couple of years. But because there was a lot of houses built with these kind of cool natural grays or cold grays and blues in the last decade or so, this has been a very popular color. I thought, the surprising part for me, I suppose, is I thought with the release of the Trex Enhance line stuff that the Select line would take a pretty big hit, and it has. Winchester Gray is the only one that's made it to the list of top 10 for us. So not surprising that the Select has gotten knocked down quite a ways, but surprising that Winchester Gray is still number 1. Now, I think that might be skewed a little bit. I think we had a couple jobs that were very large, and that's added to the linear foot of the sales, but it's still a really respectable number that it's sold. So Trex Select Winchester Gray, still strong. I'm guessing in some markets, Select as a whole is still strong. It's still a good board. And if somebody's looking for something that's not scalloped, then that's Trex's lowest cost board on a non-scalloped board. So, makes a little bit of sense still. Number 9, Wolf Blood. Okay, so hold on. Let me back up here. To give you some more context behind the list, let's talk about the brands that we actually carry so you know what is possibly on the list and what possibly is not. So we carry in the store, we are a stocking dealer of the following brands. Trex, of course, we stock quite a bit of their stuff. So we dabble in all of the lines that, the enhanced basics and naturals and select and transcend and transcend tropicals. All of those are shown in our store. We show Fiberon. So every line from Fiberon, the Good Life, the Sanctuary, which is more a regional player, the Protect Advantage line, the Horizon line, I'm going to go forget parts here, the Paramount line, and the Symmetry, Horizon Symmetry line. So we carry all the Fiberon ones as well. So those are all in play. I'm going through in my mind here, the kind of like the logical flow of our store. We also carry TimberTech / AZEK now. So TimberTech, we carry and display all their stuff as well. The Edge, the Pro line, which of course is Tropicals and Legacy and everything else. And then the AZEK line, of course, Arbor, Vintage, and why am I forgetting the other one? I had it stuck there. Harbor. No. Anyway, moving on, because I can't remember the name of the third one for whatever reason right now. But we carry the entire TimberTech, AZEK Pro, and Edge categories. And then we also carry a bunch of, I shouldn't miss Decorators is also a composite. So Decorators we got into this year, but only really the Voyage line. So you're not going to hear anything from the Vault or the other lines showing up in this list because we don't even display them at this point. And then we'll get into the Clubhouse is probably the next one I would say. We carry the Clubhouse line, display all their colors, and they've only got the two lines, kind of the non-variegated ones, and then the hardwood collection, the earth tones and hardwood collection. Then we carry Wolf, but only their PVC line. So we're not displaying any Wolf composites. I think that was 7. 7 if you count AZEK and TimberTech as separate, and 6, I guess, if you don't. Anyway, let's get on with the show here. It's Chuck's Winchester Gray was number 10. Number 9 is Wolf Black Walnut. So no surprise that this one's made the list. It's a very popular color. It plays well with a lot of Wolf's lineup. You can pair Black Walnut with most of the lineup, and it looks really good with almost all the colors. So not a surprise to see that it's sold quite a bit. My guess is that a lot of these sales are probably used as a picture frame board. A lot of the bulk of the sales are probably when Black Walnut's used as a picture frame as opposed to the whole deck, but it's very well selling, so no surprise that it's made the list. Of course, if you are familiar with Wolf, you know it's got beautiful coloring, very attractive board, has a great warranty behind it, a good Wolf Pro program, etc. So no surprise to see that that's caught on here. For us, this is a bit of a newer board. We've only carried Wolf in this province for 2 years, so it's still a growing brand. And so for it to make the top 10 list is really good. So number 8, Decorators Voyage Tundra. So this is also a good thing. Decorators is the first time we've carried Decorators in the store is this year. It's a brand new board. It's a very premium price point, and yet it's made the top 10 list at number 8. So that's good. This is a beautiful board. Lots of variegation in it. Unbelievable traction. Minimal thermal expansion contraction as far as, when you compare them to other traditional composites and PVC boards. So it's got a lot of good things going for it and an amazing warranty. It's 25 years, but also on the install as well. So and you don't have to be a contractor, a certified contractor to get the install warranty. You just have to install it properly. So that's a really good thing as well. So no surprise to see, well, a little bit of a surprise, but no surprise to see that would do well in markets where it's being presented. So where are we at? Number 7. Back to Wolf. Wolf Weathered Ipe has sold quite a bit this year. And so, again, Wolf known for its great coloring. Weathered Ipe is kind of that, I would call it like a rosy, I don't want to call it brown. It's kind of a rosy color. I'll just leave it at that. Behind the name, Weathered Ipe is kind of, I'm assuming that the name is it's like a partially weathered Ipe. It's kind of, Ipe is very kind of red, especially when oiled. And once it starts to weather, it's going to turn gray. But that in-between transition period between the red and the gray kind of is this rosy gray color. And so that's what weathered Ipe is. And that's, it's been a big seller for us at number 7. Wolf's kicking some butt here because at number 6, we have Wolf again, Wolf Amberwood. And so this one is a surprise. Sort of, but not really. Again, and I'll explain that. So surprise because I don't think Amberwood is one of their best-selling colors from Wolf. So for it to be this high on the list and ahead of Weathered Ipe and Black Walnut's probably not typical for most areas that carry Wolf, but we've had a couple of monster jobs that have done Amberwood, and I think that's skewing the numbers a little bit. I believe earlier in the year, when I looked at the top 3 boards, Amberwood was even higher because those big sales happened earlier in the year. Now it's kind of starting to fall down the path a little bit, but it's still it's a very attractive board. It's just kind of that light browny yellow color with, again, beautiful variegation. So, no surprise that it's sold. Just it's probably skewing a little bit higher in this list than it's going to be at the end of this year. My guess is at the end of the year, it's probably not going to be sitting number 6. It's going to kind of skew down because of those giant sales that it had at the start of the year. A couple of projects that took a lot of material. So it's a great color. Don't want to not give it credit for making the list, but I just think that one's going to slide a little bit. So, but Wolf already with 3 of the 5 that we've talked about is pretty impressive. On the list at number 5, TimberTech Terrain Silver Maple. Not a surprise in this one. This one's always been a strong player for us. It's that kind of dirty gray board with a little bit of black streaking. So this used to be one of our consistently number 1 selling color in previous years. It's fallen down the list a little bit because of the price jumps that we've talked about earlier podcasts. We mentioned that the TimberTech prices really jumped on us this year, and I think as a result of that, TimberTech has slid down this list quite a bit, but still a strong player with silver maple because it's just a good looking board that works with a lot of houses. Can work with kind of gray palettes and brown palettes, so that right there kind of chalks off a lot of the houses that are out there. So it's a decent price point still, higher than it used to be, unfortunately, but it's still a very attractive board and is doing quite well at number 5. At number 4, we're back to Trex, and it's with one of the new boards, and it's Rocky Harbor. And so this is in the Enhanced Naturals line. This is a very attractive board. This is a pleasant surprise for me. So I know at the start of the year we made some videos and whatnot, and we kind of reviewed Trex's new boards or Trex's whole lineup, and we talked about the new colors. And my opinion was that they had really nailed some of the colors, like Coastal Bluff, and that some of the other ones were maybe just a couple shades off of being massive hits. And Rocky Harbor was one of the ones that I thought might fit that bill, that it was just maybe a couple shades too peachy or too pinky for to kind of be adopted on a mass scale. And that we've for sure heard that quite a bit from customers that are in our store saying like, this one's just a little bit too pinky for me. So there was something there. We definitely saw that. But to be sitting at number 4 selling board in our entire store out of the 100 colors that are on the wall is a pretty impressive spot. So it's achieved a bit more of a mass adoption than maybe I thought it would. And the surprise to me is that I couldn't decide whether Foggy Wharf or Rocky Harbor would be the big seller in our market. And at this point, it's Rocky Harbor by quite a bit. Rocky Harbor is outselling Foggy Wharf about 3-1. So Foggy Wharf doesn't make the list. They're I would say they're about number 14 on the list. So that's a surprise to me that those two have such a wide spread. I thought they'd be a little bit tighter. The top 3 is going to be interesting. Number 3, Fiberon Sanctuary Latte. And I'm going to have to explain this one a little bit because I think some markets that are listening to this, for sure the Australian guys are going to have no idea what this is, I don't think. Fiberon's sold under a different name down there. I don't know that they have a color comparable to this line in that, whatever it's called down there. But I'm pretty sure most of the USA does not have this, the Sanctuary line. This is kind of from my understanding, a Western Canadian / European and some regional markets, maybe in the USA, that have this. So what it is, it's a very taupey kind of color, like it's a grayish browny color, tan almost, I would say, but it's got some darker gray streaking in it, and so it's quite a unique board. I don't know that I can compare it to any other board in our store, even because it's not really, doesn't really look like any of them. It kind of, how would I describe this board? I would say if you would take like a Wolf Silver Teak, but put a lot more of the tan in it, less of the gray, and then make the whole thing darker, it might be something like that. So you could also refer to Coastline from AZEK, maybe just like more tan and darker board with a little bit of gray in it. So same kind of color palette as those boards, but quite a different look. And it's got a unique embossing on that Sanctuary line that's different from every other line that Fiberon offers. And of course, every one of their lines has a different embossing, so that's not a surprise. But quite of an attractive board. Again, it's doing quite well because this year as a whole, kind of those warmer grays are starting to come in now. We talked at the start about Winchester Gray being one of the colder grays, kind of the blue skewed grays. The brown skewed grays have really started to pick up these last few years, and that's no surprise to see like a Rocky Harbor or this Latte or even Silver Maple showing up in this list, because that's what those are. They're kind of those warmer brownish grays. So Fibron Sanctuary Latte. If you have not seen this board in market, go to fibrondecking.com. You can have a peek at it there. You might have to choose the Canadian English option maybe to see it. I don't know if it shows in the States or not, so you have to check that. Number 2 on this list, this is a big one. To crack the top 3 is a big deal. Fibron Good Life Beach House. No surprise in this one. We've been selling this like crazy. This is a great board. If you haven't got yourself a chance to look at the Good Life line from Fibron, it's a fantastic entry-level price point. I should have been telling people what we'll go through afterwards and tell you kind of what these price points are so you can have some context around that as well. But Fibron Beach House is a somewhat entry-level board. It costs a little bit more. It's not their cheapest board because it does have some color variegation to it that always adds a little bit to the cost of these things. But Fibron Beach House is that kind of like neutral gray, kind of a middle to light gray, but with some dark gray streaking in it. I would say it hints just a tiny skew bluish, but fairly neutral. So it works with a lot of houses. It's very attractive. The Good Life line as a whole is a great one. So this is a very attractive color. Fibron released these 3 new colors this year in the Good Life line. Good Life previously was just a solid color board, and there was only 2 options, 3 in the past. But last year there's only 2 colors left in that line, and they released 3 new ones into that line, all variegated, and they're doing well. Obviously, Beach House is kicking the most butt, but not surprising here because this market is a little bit of a gray market. So that's incredible. It's in second place by quite a bit. So good on you, Fibron, for releasing a color that really captivated the market here. Number 1. I need to put a drum roll on our soundboard here. I don't have a drum roll. I got this. But that's not the right sound for number 1. This is a clean sweep, folks. Fibron has taken the top 3 spots for sales in our store so far this year. Fibron Good Life Cottage is the number 1 selling board in our store, and it's created a bit of a spread here. It's ahead of the number 2 by a couple thousand linear feet on this. So it's quite incredible how much this board sells. Fibron Cottage, if you haven't seen it, it's comparable in color to maybe like a Trex Select Pebble Gray, or it's not as blue as TimberTech Stone Ash, but if you know that color, it's got a little bit more neutral than that. But it's a fantastic board. It's got a nice deep embossing to it that's very, I don't want to say realistic, but very attractive wood grain, deep embossing to it. It's kind of, the embossing is very similar to Trex's Transcend line, but at a lower entry level price point. So it's a very neutral gray, so it works for a lot of people. The price point is great. It's quite low as far as good brand composites go, and it's just attractive. It's got a good warranty. It's quite durable. So I'm not surprised to see this as number 1 on our list at all. That and Beach House have, like, just day to day knowing kind of what's going out the doors, I would have guessed that those 2 would have been the top 2. So they're outselling the other ones by quite a margin. So congratulations to Fibron for having the top 3 selling colors in our store as of July 31st of 2019, year to date. So that's pretty incredible for them to clean sweep that. I don't think there was any brands that we carry that didn't make the Clubhouse. Clubhouse did not make the list, unfortunately. That's one brand that we carry that didn't make the top 10. I don't know why. They released a couple new boards this year. The one's been doing okay. The other one has not been doing great for us. It's just not selling that well this year. So anyway, but Fibron obviously is, Trex is, TimberTech has taken a bit of a slide. Wolf is staying strong. Decorators, brand new this year, but we're happy with how it's been going so far. And so that's your top 10. Now, to go through this and give you some more context around pricing, I said I was going to do that. Your number 1 and number 2 boards are quite low price points. So Fibron Cottage is an entry-level price point. It's Fibron's lowest price point. So it competes directly against like Trex Enhanced Naturals or the Trex Select line last year. Beach House from Fibron, which is a number 2 board, is in our store it's 70 cents a linear foot more than Cottage. That's Canadian. So in the States it might be, a 50 cent premium over the Cottage. color, and the board is exactly the same. It's scalloped the same embossing, same everything. It's just that it's got that extra added layer of variegated color through it. So that justifies the price there. Fiber and Latte is a middle price point. So it's, how do I explain this? It's about $1 more linear foot than the Beach House. So it's kind of settles into that middle price point quite nicely. The Trex Rocky Harbor at number 4 is comparable in price to the Beach House. It's kind of that same category of low to mid price points. And then TimberTech Silver Maple, like I said, it used to be kind of a low to mid price point. It's kind of jumped up into the middle tier pricing this year. And from here on out, for the next 4 anyway, we're at premium price points. So we've got a good mix of lower price points that have kind of captivated the top 4, top 5, low to mid price points. And then number 6, Wolf Amberwood, number 7, Wolf Weathered Ipe, and Decorator's Tundra at number 8 and Wolf Black Walnut at number 9 are all premium price points. So these are priced up comparably to, if you're not familiar with these boards, they would be priced comparable to the Trex Transcend Tropicals or like an AZEC Vintage Collection or something like that. That's the price point they would sit into. And then number 10 was that Trex Winchester Gray, which is back down. It's priced exactly the same as the Trex Rocky Harbor, so down in that low to mid price point. So there's a mix there, but for sure, not surprising, the lower cost boards are... they dominated the category. So as far as linear footage goes, no surprise to see that they are winning. What's working in your market? I'm curious. I'm always curious about this because everybody's market's a little bit different. What's selling in your market? Are there any surprises on this list that you thought like, holy crap, like that doesn't sell in our market at all? I can't believe it's number 2 on your list up there. Let me know about that. I'm interested in hearing this kind of stuff. I know that different markets like the Northeast US has more of kind of like a reddish tones are more popular up there, reds and browns, whereas, Central Canada we're more kind of grays. Every market's a little bit different. So let me know what you've got, if it differs much from this list, or if there's anything on here that you say like, that you think, boy, you guys don't sell this brand, it just crushes down here. Let me know that too. I'm curious. We're always interested in products that are doing well in certain markets so we can kind of evaluate and see if it'll do well in ours. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. A little announcement coming up. Deck Expo is not too far away anymore. It's only 3 months away. They pushed it back a little bit this year, which is great. It's in November, which is fantastic because October was still, a little bit early, kind of having to step away from the kind of the end of season work that was still available. November's a better time frame for everybody, I think. So that's great, but it's 3 months away. People are starting to talk about things. If you haven't had a chance to book your rooms, book your flights, book whatever you need to book, do that now because I know this stuff books up fast. You don't want to miss out on it. Make sure you check. Here's a hot tip. There are expo passes that you can buy, but there's also plenty of free ones out there if you just do some Googling or if you know a vendor or whatever. So before you go buy a pass, maybe check with your local reps, see if they can swing something for you and get you a pass into the show. If not, maybe Google Deck Expo free pass or something. There's always some vendors that are offering passes to the show. And so take advantage of that. For sure. November 6th, 7th, 8th, I want to say, are the dates that it's on. The 6th is the kind of seminar day. So if you have an interest in taking in some of the education and classes that they do that. Make sure you get registered early. There's limited space for those. If you are not planning on taking those in, that's fine. Hit up the trade show floor on the November 7th and 8th. There's going to be a lot of good companies there showing a lot of new products and whatnot. It's great. If you haven't never been to this show, make sure you do. And make sure you hit me up because we will be there, of course. And there's going to be an exciting announcement coming up about our presence there soon. So hit me up because we always make sure that we get a gathering of Instagram folks, kind of making sure we get together and kind of deep in the community a little bit. So hit me up if you're heading to Deck Expo this year. It's going to be a good one. So that is all for today, folks. I'm Shane Chapman. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, just book your flights and get yourself to Deck Expo. That's how I'm going to sign this off. Okay. You guys, will see you soon. If you're looking to be on the podcast, we're looking for guests. Send me a message at the Shane Chapman or at the Ultimate Deck Shop. Hit us up. We want to hear from you. Take care, folks.